It's never too soon to start thinking about your landscaping, and this season we're fortunate because the homeowner is doing just that. In fact, he has already engaged a landscape architect. Say hello to Greg Lombardi. Hey, Greg.
Good to see you, Kevin. How are you?
So 13 years ago when George bought this house, he confessed to us it wasn't so much about the house as it was about the yard. He loves it. We're kind of taking a shine to it, and we'd like to hear your thoughts.
Well, I think it's a fantastic opportunity. I mean, you look at this, it's in the center of the city, what it feels like, the flow. We got nature all around us. We could be 100 miles away up in Vermont or in the mountains, and we got this great sweep of the trees, and this wall brings you right in here, culminating in this, I mean, fantastic example of an old crabapple, incredibly romantic. It's in full flower right now, great time to see it.
George wants to save it. Is it something you want to save as well?
Absolutely. I think this is on my list as a keeper. So trying to work with this. And what I love about it too is the more you look at the terrace, you see how the tree really starts to engage the house and creates another extension of the living space almost. And if you really look at the way the house is a stark box, you know, 50 years ago,
very modern. This
was probably pretty shocking in a neighborhood of Victorians, and they probably raised a few eyebrows, but this, what it does is it lets light, look at the flood of light in here, and the feeling of inside and out is blurred. So the tree actually helps you feel that the extension of the inside and out is complete.
Okay. So that's the big idea, and I kind of get that, but let's talk about practical stuff. There are a lot of things here that George wants to save. The walls, this crabapple. He's also thinking about possibly saving the patio. Your thoughts?
Well, I look at the patio, and it's a point of beginning. I think that we could probably look at replacing some of the areas because you can see the settling that's happening, and like in here we get this little bit of, it's almost like an eroded condition where we've got a trip edge. It's not just aesthetics, this is a safety issue. So,
but possibly we could fix this, maybe pull out some of these bricks, level off, and then feather them back in maybe?
Yeah, we would look at that. I think what happens is once you start taking a little piece out, how far does it go?
Okay.
And what could happen here is we start to look at if we really have to redo this terrace, what does it start to feel like? And I've been bouncing some ideas around and looking at how this could be, you know, working with our program a little bit more. And you know, I come in here and I see this bluestone as a paving finish on the inside of the house. So what's great about the bluestone, we could use that material outside as well. So we might be able to bring that material finish outside.
So by using the same materials, maybe continue this connection between outside and in.
Exactly. So this whole idea of living in an idealized Eden out here is complete, and it makes it a lot more fun to be in that house, I think.
Let's put it in the plan, and let's look at the side yard.
Okay. And Kevin, every house has a good side, and we found its bad side. You look over here, there's this failed retaining wall. We've got these screening trees that have gone up, and now they don't screen anything except the sunlight from getting down to the house.
All the lower branches are gone, you're right.
Exactly. So the illusion is completely broken about our nature, and our nature here, look at this stuff. It's completely gone to seed. What's left of the plantings are not worth saving. I think we have to do a lot of work in here to bring this back.
So you're not that enamored with the side yard, which is good, because then you won't be too upset when I tell you that Tommy wants to turn everything over here into a parking lot.
Oh yeah, the parking lot would be the first thing that would come to my mind.
Just temporary, Greg. Well, Roger was thinking that if we could connect this street with the side yard, you know, and in the process take down some of these trees, we could get the trucks here and get some work done. What do you think?
Not a problem at all. I've actually talked to the homeowner about taking some of these trees out anyway, so we'll work with it. Great.
So what are the next steps from you?
I better get busy on a plan because you got to have something to look at.
I'd love to take a look at it when you're ready. Thanks, Greg. While Tom and Norm continue to make progress inside, our homeowner George Mabry is making progress outside as he goes over the landscaping model, which was put together for us by landscape architect Greg Lombardi.
Hey Kevin, how you doing?
Good, Greg. Hey George.
Hi Kevin.
So, Greg, Roger has cleared the lot for you.
You like this? Yep. We emptied everything out, and look at what I got.
Yeah, well, what do you think about what you got?
I knew it was under here. I knew it was good stuff, but also I've got a nice house next door. It's a little close.
So you kind of want to block this view a little bit? How are you going to handle that?
Exactly. I mean, we really need to screen this. I want to look to the backyard, take some cues from this natural planting we have. It's really an undisturbed natural, and sweep it up here to a mix of evergreens, deciduous, probably put a grouping of trees here in front of the house, multi-stem deciduous that will be in front of some evergreens, step it down to some probably mountain laurels, azaleas, things like that, and then down to a ground cover that's really easy to take care of.
All right, well, that takes care of the side yard, but we need some privacy here in the front yard. George is concerned about a busy road. What have you got in mind for this?
Well, quite simply, it's going to be a wall and a hedge.
A wall. How high of a wall?
Oh, it's about 3 feet.
3 feet, George. Sufficient for you in terms of privacy?
Well, I think so. I mean, look, we're 4 feet down right now. So if you look here, you can actually tell a 3-foot wall actually gives you plenty of division from the road.
So this 3 foot here is really, what, 7 feet or so down
7
there?
feet, absolutely.
Okay. So we've got a couple elevations here, and Greg, you brought a three-dimensional model for us as well. Can you walk us through it?
Sure. This one makes it really easy to understand how we took the cues from the architecture, very geometric, started to create a series of spaces that were geometric. So there's an arrival court, parking, and 2 entrances from the street, from the driveway, and also a little civic gesture here for pedestrians to come in, a landing, and then down into the outdoor foyer of the house.
Civic gesture, I like that. A nice model, and again, we can see it here in 2 dimensions. So this is the parking court, that public entrance, and then you've got stairs going over. What is this?
My stairs float over a water element.
A water element. George, did you call for that?
Oh, well, actually, it was Greg's idea. But I think it's a good idea.
Well, now, wait a second. You know, it's New England, and this thing is going to freeze and fill with leaves. You'll be lucky to get to 3 months out of it.
Well, it's a little bit of maintenance, but I think it's worth it for the house.
All right. Well, what are the next steps?
Well, I think Roger needs stuff from us like yesterday, so we got to pick up some of the final material palettes, pick some, whether it's bluestone, granite. We get busy on that and get it to him as soon as we can.
Well, I know Roger is out back busy with your hemlocks, George, but he is eager to get going. So if you guys will put your heads together, we'd appreciate it.
Gonna get on it.
Thanks,
Great.
guys.
Thanks.
Well, it's a good thing most of our guys can work inside because the rain came quick. One of the most prominent features here in the front yard is our water feature, the first one we built on the show, and it was designed by Greg Lombardi, our landscape architect. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Kevin.
So at 37 feet long, this is going to be hard to miss.
Well, it depends where you look at it from. From out at the street, the series of walls create that privacy and the separation. The house is very monumental. You come into the space over the series of stairs. They're going to float right over the water feature, land you down here, that you look the length of the pool, and it brings you out into the rest of the landscape.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing our eye off there to the right, because if you had come left, well, we would bump right into this imposing facade of our garage, and that's not the best view.
We took care of that too. What we did is we put a stand of bamboo that should be up at least 6 feet, scrim this whole wall. You can see it over here in this elevation perspective that we did. The bamboo against the wall, the steps I described, the walls, the bluestone caps along the edge of the pool, and the wall caps, they pull everything together in the materials.
Right, you've given us a cross section down here, and you can really see how that water just kind of shoots right out of the middle of this wall.
We did this for Roger, showing the mechanicals of the wall, the subsurface, the bluestone caps, and how the water's going to cascade.
Okay, nice design. Thank you. We'll check in with Roger, see how the building's going. We are fortunate that our homeowner earmarked a considerable portion of his budget for landscaping, the centerpiece of which are 2 stone walls here in the front yard, a water feature complete with its own waterfall, and a massive bluestone staircase. These giant stone treads sit on a stainless steel stringer system, and it gives the effect that the big blocky stone just levitates over this water feature. Well, it was all designed by our landscape architect, Greg Lombardi.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Greg, the water is flowing. What do you think?
I love it. I think Roger and his guys did an incredible job with this.
And as soon as they finished with the hardscaping, they jumped right onto the plantings.
We finally got to the planting. So we're going to start out here at the street. What we tried to pick up, Kevin, was the street tree rhythm here that starts to respond to the geometry of the house and the street. We selected honey locust, and this is the first one of a line that's actually a double line. And if Tommy didn't have his truck here, we'd have both of them here. But this line continues here. You can see another row.
Oh, yeah, so very straight. Now, why honey locust?
Well, honey locusts are really dappled shade. They're very upright and very disease resistant, so they're a great tree for the street.
And why in a straight line? It's not very naturalistic.
Well, we took the cue from the house, the geometry, the really bold move of this, and we kept them in a grid so that leads you here to the side yard.
Okay, well, let's talk about the side yard because, up until now, it's been nothing but a driveway for all of our trucks.
And a mud pit.
What do you have in mind for this space?
Well, practically, we had to start with the screening, which we lost all the hemlocks that used to be here because they were all trunk and no screen. So we started to mix in a natural screening of arborvitaes and white pines, like this fastigiate white pine.
So what does fastigiate mean?
Fastigiate means upright, so we're going to get a very different habit that's going to be dense all the way from the ground up.
Ah, okay, so that's going to give us our screening here in the background. I get it. So if this is the background, what have you got in store here for the middle ground?
What we're going to do is, well, starting over here, well, the way that the fountain and the trees lead you to the back, you're going to find a bluestone set of steps that are going to lead into stepping stones that take you around the back. And this planting edge is going to be a mix of ferns and ground covers and smaller scale shrubs.
Well, stepping stones is going to be a welcome sight given all the mud we've got right now.
Exactly.
And so what sort of plants do you have in mind?
You can see how we start to mix it up here. They start to meander. This is a rhododendron maximum, and then we have a mountain laurel, the kelmia. So it starts to feather out here, and we get to the big sweep of the backyard, which is all about the open lawn.
All right, well, I really look forward to seeing it all go in.
Right, and if this rain stops, Roger can get going tomorrow.
Well, good morning. I'm Kevin O'Connor.
And I'm Norm Abram.
And welcome back to our very last show here at the Cambridge Project. And Norm, it has been quite a project, hasn't it?
Oh, it sure has. Our own Tom Silva led an army of craftsmen who almost doubled the size of this house to the finest level of workmanship. And they accomplished it in only 8 months. Unbelievable.
Well, that is unbelievable. And think of the transformation they pulled off. Do you remember what used to be here? That old house that was literally rotting away, the red shed. I mean, they called it modern, but boy, did it need some updating.
It needed a lot of updating, but I think we pulled it off.
And how about you, Roger? One of the biggest jobs for you to date. And you beat the snow.
Yeah, we got most of the landscaping in. Kevin will be back to touch up the spring. But the real story was the hardscaping. Biggest hardscape job I've done on the smallest lot. And it all started with 18 ton of bluestone, which makes up the walkway, the stairs, and even the cap on the walls. And then the walls themselves, 15 ton of natural veneer stone from Bulgaria. I mean, look at that chimney.
Incredible. A 30-foot high chimney, 2 40-foot long walls, and Roger, your very first water feature, complete with its own waterfall.
Came out great, didn't it?
Sure did.
But it's not only the moving water, it's the sound. When you're down in here, you're not in the city. You're out in the mountains next to a babbling brook.
You could be, but you know what? I am glad to be here. I cannot wait to see what's inside, guys. So, what do you say? Should we christen the water feature?
All right.
We're gonna make a wish on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, you pulled it off.
Hey, Norm, it took a lot of great craftsmen to work long, hard days to make this all happen. I gotta say, I think it looks pretty good.
It does. And look at you, Roger, taking care of details right up to the last minute. You got the bamboo in.
Well, Norm, this whole job was about the details, and the bamboo for me was just that final one.
And Richard, with snow everywhere, you didn't even have to shovel the driveway.
Right, it's all heated underneath, and it hasn't snowed in a while, so I got lucky. Now, this job turned out to be so big, we actually got 3 different mechanical contracting companies to pull together on the plumbing, heating, and cooling, and they got along.
And that's the first.
Well, guys, this is certainly a first for me. A modern project in the city. Boy, and I think it looks great. What do you think, George?
Look at this place. It's incredible. 13 years in the making, but everyone did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
What are you doing out here? There's a party inside.
All right. So until next time, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm George Mabry.
I'm Tom Silva.
I'm Norm Abram.
Rich Trethewey and Roger Cook.
For this old house.
Go, boys.
Let's party.
You buying?
Absolutely.